The SilverStone Grandia 11 is the perfect PC case for use in a 19-inch rack. Today, I'll be upgrading mine with the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 video card, which is the perfect time to demonstrate how this case can cool major components while fitting inside of a 5U rack space.
I will cover the following build considerations: how the motherboard's graphics card slot aligns properly with the GD11 case, what extra parts are needed to connect the GPU power cables, and my strategy for dissipating heat with a 240mm radiator and no less than 7 high-end case fans.
Recently, I posted a time-lapse video of the SilverStone Grandia 11. Some of the questions that came up from viewers of that video were, how do you pick a motherboard that fits in this case? And it comes down to a special requirement that SilverStone has, and I'm going to get into that right now. The manual for the Grandia 11 will tell you you need a motherboard where the graphics card is seated in the second expansion slot. Now, that's a little confusing. What they mean by that is the second expansion slot provisioned on the case. Like ATX cases do, the SilverStone GD11 provides 7 expansion slots to be filled. But motherboards don't provide 7 expansion slots like this. They have fewer and they space them differently. So you'll note here, this motherboard from MSI that I'm using has the graphics card, which is enormous. This is the Radeon RX 6750 XT, seated in the second and third slots of the case. Now, I'm about to pull this card out and we'll have a look at what the motherboard looks like. The first slot is here, and that's the slot the graphics card was installed in. So this MSI motherboard, the first PCI Express expansion slot, is in the second position of the slots available on the case. It's wide enough to fit a triple width. So 2, 3, and 4 are all provisioned for use with the first expansion slot. The second one of the motherboard is then lined up at position number 5. There's a PCI Express 1 that's in position number 6, and then there's an X8 slot that is underneath this fan here. Now, if you're paying attention in my time-lapse video, you'd note that this fan wasn't present, and I used that slot for a 2-port network card. And what I found was my graphics card was starved for air, and it hit its maximum junction temperature. So I removed my network card and seated an available fan I had from MSI in order to drive airflow to the card, and that completely solved my issues. I still need the network ports, so I've had to order a new network card right here that has X1 lanes instead of X4, so that I can use it in the slot that's available at position number 6. So I'm going to install that today. And then I'm going to swap out the graphics card from AMD to NVIDIA. And once again, I'm still using the first slot on the motherboard. It lines up at the second position of the case. Another question that came up from my first video regarded the NVIDIA GeForce 3080 video card, and is this case capable of cooling a card this large? I'm going to find that out. And the nice thing about the SilverStone case and a card this large is I'm not actually worried about the weight of the card, because when you use this motherboard in a tower case, everything's turned on its side and the weight of the card will flex the expansion slot. When you use it in the horizontal position like I have now, the weight of the card just sits on the expansion slot, forcing down, so there isn't a risk to bending that slot. I'm really excited to try it out, and I'm also Stoked to see how well this case handles this kind of heat. There it is. Snug it up. Now, on to the problem that I had the last time. The height of this cable is just plain too high. And if I were to try to slide this cover on, it's got a clearance issue. To save my hopes and dreams of running the NVIDIA 3080 inside of the SilverStone, I had to come up with something else. Hence, Amazon. It's a little tricky. They make two different kinds to fit the different kinds of video cards that you have. And you have to pay attention when you order these to get the right kind for the card that you own. So it has a male side and a female side, and it fits into the power cable at a right angle. And now the plug, the female side, faces up so that I can run the cable from the bottom up. I'm going to push that in. And it doesn't click or anything, obviously, because you wouldn't be able to release it. And I'm going to need 3 of these bad boys. There we have it. Just a little few pieces of Velcro in there strategically just to eliminate a vibration point possibility between my adapters for power and the support bar that goes front to back. So, if you're wondering, does it fit? It certainly does fit. You can see the 3080 has plenty of room side to side. It will fit top to bottom. There's a clearance issue that has to be addressed. You'll need to get some adapters. I can link those in the description. The only thing left to test is, does it actually work in the PC? Can this case cool this large of a graphics card? I'm going to cover that next. I've spent a lot of time focusing on the heat dissipation of this build. And I want to talk about the components that I've chosen and the orientation I have them fit in, so that if you're building the GD11, you can use that information to help you make choices. So the first major component I have installed is this 240 millimeter radiator from MSI. The case is designed for the radiator to sit in the front and lay on its side like this. Unfortunately, the tube orientation is always going to be on the power supply side. So you're not going to be able to run it the other way around. With this MSI radiator, the radiator tubes are pre-installed because it's an AIO and they're fit at the top. And this means that as the air, there's always some air present in water cooling, it's going to settle on the top of the radiator, and part of my water circulation is going to be right up there with the air. So that's going to make this radiator perform just a little bit less optimal than a radiator that would have the tubes closer to the bottom, where they're less likely to encounter air and have any bubbles go through the system to the pump. Now, I have noticed that this particular radiator that I have is doing a pretty good job. I haven't had much of an issue One of the reasons I think the AIO in this particular case is better is this side fan. So I'm going to talk about the fans for a minute here. I have 7 fans in this build. There's 2 in the front behind this radiator. There are 2 on the side that feed air into the case as intakes for the GPU to consume. And then I have an exhaust on the side and 2 exhaust fans in the back. These are 80mm fans from Noctua. This is a 120mm slim fan, which is the only size that'll fit in the corner here. And then an 80mm and a 120. Ideally, I would run a 120mm on both of these. However, just below there is the header for the power buttons and the LEDs in the front of the case. So I can't obstruct that with a larger fan. Thankfully, SilverStone includes a mounting option for the 80mm fan that allows me to place that right at the same baffle location that the 120mm fan is, because they assume you could have clearance issues. So air moves in through the radiator. The radiator is going to make that into hot air. So now I'm intaking hot air. And I have an exhaust sitting right next to the side of it, which is actually a good thing. So we're getting rid of hot air right away, at least what we can. And the rest, there's still airflow coming in though, because this fan obviously can't keep up with those 2 fans, even with the radiator impacting the pressure. So air moves in, air moves in, air moves out. And that's the basic strategy, what I've done for the cooling here. And I believe it's a good one. I don't really think there's much else that can be done to make it better, short of possibly picking a different motherboard that would be maybe a micro ATX form factor, so that there's room on the side to fit 2 120mm fans instead of only 1. So I think this is about the best I can do in this case, in terms of having what I need. I need extra network ports. I need a beefy, awesome graphics card with an NVIDIA chipset. I need a powerful CPU that supports virtualization and can run games at the high-end settings. And I've got the best cooling orientation that I can come up with here. So I'm really excited about this build. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Please subscribe to the channel. I will definitely post something of simulator variety that shows how awesome this machine can do that workload.